Speaker session. Our first guest has spent 18 years building businesses at scale across the Tatas and the Mahindras, with an impact of over $100 million in revenue and 50 million users acquired. Fabulous track record. Today, as Chief Growth Officer at StockGro, he's working on something that matters. Oh, he's working on something that matters to every single person in this room, which is bringing the next generation of investors into the Indian markets with the real knowledge, real confidence, and better research habits. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Varun Arora.
Check. Okay, am I audible? People at the back? People here? Perfect. Okay, folks, since we are late, I will try to keep this very crisp, clear, and short. Okay? I'll start with, whatever a typical investment session begins with. What are the hot stocks right now? Hot sectors. Anybody who is not into the markets for a very, very long time? AI. No listed stocks in the country. Yes? Defense. Okay. So let's lead with that. Defense. What is the most talked about stock in defense? HAL, right? Let's talk about startups. Which has been the most successful startup that has IPO'd? Eternal, right? So they should be good bets to take on, right? But if you look at the markets, last 1 year for HL has been negative. Last 6 months negative. Last month negative. Eternal, last 6 months they've pretty much been flat. And last 1 year maybe single digit increases, right? Nothing worth really being excited about, honestly. Let's look at some global stocks, right? Somebody said AI. So Meta? NVIDIA, we'll come to that. So Meta, right? So if you look at Meta over the last 1 year, again, please look up the returns. Nothing much there. But yet, as people in this room who invest, most of us invest individually, we think that we're going to invest here and we're going to be millionaires, billionaires, or whatever we dream of, right? I'm definitely one of them, which I will touch upon through a story, right? Okay, somebody said NVIDIA. And Google, anybody? Anybody wants to invest in Google right now? Right? So hot stock, great returns in the last 1 year. But if I were to ask you, who amongst you in this room, if you have the money, let's say you have a lot of money, would like to invest in NVIDIA today? And do you think it's the right choice to invest in NVIDIA today? Google? Okay, some of you guys saying yes. Some of you are saying no. Okay? But what you are taking right now is a choice, right? And because this session is not about markets, this is not about what advice I'm giving you or somebody is giving each other. MMML is a lot more about other things apart from the markets as well, right? And I think what's at the intersection of all of these things is a choice, right? So let me illustrate that with a story, and that will bring me to a point of why we are building StockGro and what we are doing with it. Okay, so let me tell you a story of a small town young boy. Like, let's name him. Anybody? Let's name this guy. Virat. Virat. Let's do Virat. Okay, so this guy is Virat, right? He lives in a small town in some North Indian village. He's growing up and he loses one of his parents. Okay, let's say the primary breadwinner, he loses that parent. Extremely patriarchal family. So घर का राजा बेटा बड़ा होगा और सब कुछ संभालेगा. Okay, you're with me still here? Now he's growing up and responsibility has knocked early, right? So he can't really express himself as to what he wants to do. He already has a path laid out in front of him. Some parts of this story will resonate with some of you, right? Stay with me. Now, but he's just a young boy, right? So he has his own dreams, ambitions, hopes, things that excite him, right? So he is too busy playing football in his wee years and very, very close to his mom, right? And who has a lot of expectations from him. Now what happens? He gets very poor marks. Okay? And he's told, go and tell your mom, or bring your mom to the school because we want to tell her that how badly you're doing at studies, right? So it's a testing moment for the guy now. What should he do? Kya kare? What would you advise him to do? Just keep working hard. But abhi to it's the moment of truth. Abhi ghar pe bataye कि नहीं? Okay, so somebody is saying, tell the family, right? Let me put it as it is. It's a moment where he has to make a choice, right? Whether to, okay, go back home, tell his mother that I have screwed up, this bad thing has happened, you come to me, save me, I will study, do better in life and move forward. The second thing Virat can do is avoid the whole thing altogether, right? So what does Virat do? You want to know? Virat chooses to not go to school for many years, right, without telling anybody. Yeah, plausible? Yes, no, believable? Okay, so somebody has done taken that kind of a path, clearly. Okay, so one moment of choice. Then he realizes after a few years, while he is not going to school, because he has a lot of time, he starts starting a business of his own, right? Small things, just flipping some things that other students would like, etc. But a few years later, he realizes that this is not going to work out for the long term, right? So he goes back to school, goes to a nice engineering college, passes out, gets a great job. Okay? Gets a job for 5 lakh rupees a year, right? But for Virat, the whole life has been about money because he wanted to grow up, take the responsibility of the family, make more money, and of course fulfill his dreams on the side that he's always been doing. So he's looking for more like 5 lakh rupees a month, right? So what choices does Virat have? Again, another plot twist. What are the choices he has? One is take that money, rise up the ladder, upskill, take up another job, then another job, then another job, one day get there. What's the second choice?
We have a mic if anybody wants to speak.
Business he can do.
Business, he can do business, yes? Or? Yeah. Start something of your own. Or investing. Great, thank you. And yes. Side hustle, so side business, right? So a business or investing or just go up the ladder, okay? He chooses to a business. Fails, right? Fails miserably, side hustle. Now, again, so what does he do? He still wants to get rich, so he goes into investing, right? But of course, investing is not going to make you money fast, right? Or does it? Yeah, he was told that it does. So he gets into derivatives without enough knowledge, understanding, and what would happen to such a person? Yeah, so he loses everything, right? So Virat here has 2 pivotal moments of choices that they had to take. And he invariably chose something that did not work for him, right? But by doing his first business, by doing his second business, he has learned now, right? So we arrived at this Virat story, and it draws a lot of parallels between what we wanted to build, right? So StockGro essentially is something that helps people how to choose about investing. It's all 3 things: if to invest, how to invest, and where to invest, right? So if to invest, we work with almost 1,600 schools and colleges across the country where we educate not just the education system and the people who are taking care of the whole institution, but also students about how soon can they start investing, how should they do it in a manner that's not extremely risky, and only do get into markets deeply when you have learned well, right? How to invest is very built into that, how we teach people to do that. Now, where to invest, right? There are 4 layers to investing. In our review, a person needs 4 things. One is great information, but information is everywhere. So I would say great synthesis of information, right? One. Second, once somebody has learned, they want to do 2 things. They either want to teach somebody else, right? Or they want to practice it. So in order for them to be able to do both and not just, park their money somewhere, then transact, go to a broker, and then wait for money to grow, we also created a very engaging community of around 35 million plus users on the application through which they can interact not just with people on Instagram, but they can interact with people who have the same interests as they do, right? Third, we noticed that people were learning about it, when people started investing, they wanted to invest more, learn faster. So they would always seek out folks who claimed to have all the answers, right? So a lot of people in this room, especially those who are young, yeah, you are on social media for long hours, and you realize that there are so many people claiming to be experts that it's very difficult to choose who is not, right? So StockGro today hosts around 150 odd SEBI RAs and IAs who share around 2,000 calls every single day. And there is a whole mechanism for people to choose the best out of it, right? So now you have learned about it, you have a community to go back to talk to, and you also have experts that you can rely on for mentoring and for advice. But I think 3 years back, we were hit by something very interesting in this world, which has changed all of our lives, which was AI. So people now, rather than talking to other people, they like to talk to AI more, right? I definitely do. Most of my time, most of my evenings are talking to AI. So we launched something called Stoxo, which is an ancillary product related to StockGro itself, which acts as you can think of it as a coach, you can think of it as a soundboard, or you can think of it as fundamentally a very, very detailed, contextualized research layer which helps people make sense of their decisions, whether it's they're absolute beginners or they're experts in the field, right? So it kind of adapts itself to them. Now, having done this over the years, we are now being invited by global exchanges across the world. We have already started working with UI in the Saudi. And like I said, it's our hands being full that we are not able to kind of cater to other demands that we have had. Now, my message to you is only this, that I would request all of you to please go check out StockGro and go check out Stoxo. Give us feedback, help us understand what we can do better, and change the lives of all the Virats out there, right? So thank you so much for your time.